Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. This week we're going to be talking about the possibility of slowing down time, maximizing your time. In a way, it becomes like slowing down your time. It doesn't go as fast as you want, but it goes as slow as possible, so that when it goes as slow as possible, you're able to do more things that you would normally do over a few days or a few months. You are able to accomplish that in a day or in a week type of a thing. I only realized this recently. I'm going to actually talk about my revelation right here. Stay tuned. The idea of slowing down time, you can't do that. I mean, in the physical world, time, seconds, minutes, years, they are all constant. We all got 24 hours a day. We all got, the same time, fraction of a time, same everything else in terms of, it's all basic. It's all the same. It turns out there's a possibility of something called attention. Since we all got the same time, but we don't all have the same amount of attention every time. Attention is a commodity. Active attention, attention which is active, seeking out. It doesn't always be available every day, 24 hours a day. It's something that comes every now and then. And I know a lot of people will be talking about meditation or other tricks, taking baths as a way of getting your attention back on. Those tricks just arouse your mind so that your mind moves from sleeping to sleeping state. One thing that I realized in the book Tools for Titans, they have bizarre, very, very bizarre rituals that they do, trying to get their attention back on space. Others, go around and drinking jet fuel. If you don't know what jet fuel is, it's the airplane fuel, like petrol for airplanes. They put it in, they say it does whatever. Others, they run in the morning, they do all of these things. There's weird ritual from 5 o'clock in the morning, so that by the time that they hit their desk, they could be on high productivity. So it's those tricks that they were sharing in the book to say, what does the Arnold Schwarzenegger, the whoever of this world do on a daily basis so that they can always be on high alert? Meaning that they make sure that on that day, they retain their attention, it doesn't float away. They are doing this because, I don't know if you remember, some while back, there was a movie by Adam Sandler called Click. In the movie, he takes this remote and he keeps on skipping, and then before he knows it, he's old and he asks himself, where did the time go? Apparently, that is true. According to recent research that I was looking at, apparently that is true. So what happens is our mind is so awesome that it takes repetitive tasks, drink coffee at the same time, same place, all repetitive tasks. It doesn't always remember them. It just groups them together to say, these are the memories of me drinking coffee. I might not, if I drink coffee exactly the same time for a whole week, I'm gonna battle to remember what did I do each day. Unless if I make variation in every day, then I would remember what did I do. If it's just repetitive, your mind just forgets about it. Sometimes you start work, but I would start work as an analyst, and before I know it, the day is gone. And then comes tomorrow, comes another day. 6 months later, we're sitting there, we're having performance discussion, and I can't remember a thing that I've done. But the people are coming around and saying, no, but you've done a lot. You've done 1, 2, 3. I'm like, did I do that? It's because most of the stuff, maybe the actions to the results, were all repetitive. You take data, you clean it up, and you push it in, you make a report. There might be different reports, but the process of getting the report is more or less the same. In that case, my mind will probably remember a month worth of memory in a year. Everything else just disappears. The attention is limited. It gets, shrunk down because everything else I become on autopilot. A simple example that I remember was on 2 instances. One, I had an accident. The car was a write-off. Somebody jumped the stop sign and I crashed into that person. But it's quite funny. I don't remember that minute by minute. Compared to another incident where I was just coming through on the joining the highway. It did happen that this guy that was coming through from the McDonald's, it was a bit raining. He applied the brakes, but the car, instead of going straight and stopping, the car just lost control and it went like this. And I was coming this side. And at that moment, that millisecond, 2 seconds probably, everything else froze. I can probably talk about it for like the whole day. I mean, already now taking more than 2 seconds to explain what happened in 2 seconds. But everything else froze. And with myself, my mother, everybody else in the car, everything else froze in that moment. And we could hear a lot that was happening. But as we were embracing for impact, nothing happened. Turns out we just missed the guys and we drove past. But the memory of it is there compared to when Olarato and Kamwe and I crashed into the car. It was a terrible thing. But when it crashed into the car, we have different things, and the moment of stillness, I think that's what they're trying to get to you through meditation. They say when you meditate, you get to a moment where you become so still that when you wake up, you can be able to sense everything, even the smell, even the hearing, everything else becomes sharp, sharp, sharp. Your attention is on flick. That's why they're encouraging people to meditate. But what I'm saying to you is you don't have to meditate. You don't have to take ice baths. You don't have to drink jet fuel. You don't have to. You just need to be aware that every task that you do in your work, that you do that is repetitive, it's possible that you're not going to remember. I normally saw myself in one of those stand-up meetings. Every morning you would come up 8 o'clock and you say, what did you do yesterday? How far are you in a task? Until I say something and they're like, yeah, but you told us that yesterday. I'm like, why did I tell you guys that? Okay, it goes ahead. You say something like, yeah, you told us that last week. Yeah. How could I tell you guys that last week? Because the confirmation only happened yesterday. They're like, no. That was last week already. Everything else in your mind gets blocked over and it gets taken away by this repetitive thing. So you have to do something else that's, outside. So there's a show, I think, something else that I saw also on Netflix, where they were explaining what happens. But if you put it into context, I think the people that made the show were Americans. So they were saying on their side, it turns out that more people that go into natural environment, like they take walks in the park or in nature, they tend to remember, or their attention is to be higher than a person who is still stuck in the city in a rat race. But if you put it into context, compared to us here, I mean, I just see thorn trees around here. I go the other side, there's a lot of bush. If I take out whatever leftovers, sweep them, from the floor and throw them outside, there's, all these birds coming in, Hadeida birds, you name them. They're always around. So for them going to see nature, it's a novelty. It's something that they don't, because most of the time, they're in the concrete jungle. But for me, maybe the result might not be as positive as they are, because they're like going into nature. But here I'm living next to, thorn trees, and you still experience this moment of blankness in your memory. But what they found on the other side, they say time moves faster when you are engaged in social activities. They say when you're out there, you're in a party or you're hosting people, before you know it's like, oh, where did the time go? Time just went fast. And they say because you are engaged in random conversation, like even watching this video, because you're watching this video and we're in random conversation, you watch another video on YouTube, and many of those. By the end of the day, you would not remember what happened with the time. Even the things that we talk about here, most of the stuff are very, very important, but you will soon forget them. Unless if we say we make a video of the same content a few months later, then you would probably even go and put your hand in whatever religious book and swear that is the first time that you hear about it. But that was being said many a time. It's just that your memory just clutches it together, puts very little attention to it. It doesn't go that much into permanent memory. It just stays in your temporary memory. For that, I agree with them to say once you are engaged into something, time flies. Once you are engaged in something new, something that you're not always engaged in, not necessarily something new, but something not repetitive, time moves slowly. I did mountain climbing a few times. Table Mountain. I went up Table Mountain, I think 3 times. It was a perfect example when I thought about this. The first time I went up, I was with 2 friends. We were all studying together. The first time that we climbed up, I remember everything. It took us 3 hours to do the up and down. I think 2.5 and then an hour coming back or something like that. And then the second time I went there alone. And I remember a lot of detail because some of the stuff I was there alone. The third time we went as a bigger group, we had also a lady that had her arm amputated. That one was more exciting. And we were going through another challenging side of the mountain where you have to go up the staples. I don't remember the step by step, but I remember how I felt going up the staples, going up this thing, sometimes in this skinny thing, we're thinking that we're gonna fall. Sometimes we stop somewhere, we take pictures. I remember how I felt. But here's the funny thing. I only remember one set of going down the mountain, not 3 sets. This is why, because the first time that we went up the mountain, the 2 friends came down with a cableway and I walked down alone. The second time I went alone, so I went up alone and I came down alone. I don't remember any detail at all on that specific day when I was walking down alone. I'm just creating fiction if I'm trying to remember. The third time, we went up the new route, but we came down the same route that I came down in. I have 3 sets of going up the mountain, but only 1 memory going down. I don't remember 3 sets of memory of me coming down the mountain. And every time I went down up the mountain, it was not like a day after another. It was like a couple of months in between. This time I was in March, and then I came down again in August, and then I went up in February the following year. There's enough time for me to create a perfect, unique memory, but it doesn't work out. It is true. When you are engaged with other people, having a nice conversation, you could feel like the day never existed. Like you can just say it was Monday and then it became Saturday. I don't remember what happened between Tuesday and Friday, and before you know it, it's like you are that guy who's clicking onto the robot, onto the remote to skip your life until before you know it, you are old and you're like, where did the time go? Hence why Tim Ferriss wrote this bizarre book of call it the Tools of Titans, where these well-achieved people do all these weird rituals in the morning. According to them, they're thinking, if I take a cold bath, ice bath in the morning, I'm forcing my mind to remember what I'm gonna do today. Because if I don't, I might forget. It's gonna go shoved into the pile of it was any other day. And the same is true with me at work. I used to say that a lot, and I would clean up data, like I said, same step, but on the side, I think I shared in one of the videos when we were doing the mentor series, I would put on a video on a tablet or wherever, and I would watch, the likes of Smallville, I would watch, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., or, any of those series that I never got time, even Supernatural, watch anything else, boom, put it there and watch it. I remember what happens in the series themselves. I don't remember what I did in the activity of me completing my work. But guess what? Everybody was happy with my work and I got good bonuses to say, wow, you did so well. But I don't remember any of those. Me putting a thing on the side was a way for me to benchmark. Sometimes I would say, oh, I remember I finished the month-end pack when Clark Kent met with Lex Luthor. When they met and they started having this conversation, that's when I remember, oh, that's what happens. I think I watched a few of Vampire Diaries where whoever started, dating the other guy. That's when I finished up the whatever pack. That's what I was using to benchmark. And I didn't understand that until recently, about a month ago, that I said, oh, that was helping with my memory, because I never used to repeat episodes of the series or the movies themselves. The tasks on the side were repetitive. But for me to benchmark, instead of me writing down on a notebook, because you can start writing down on a notebook, but at one point it becomes useless. Without me writing down in a notebook, I would remember what happens in Marvel's Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. Say, oh, Samuel L. Jackson did this and that. That's when I did this script. And that is how probably, I only remember now, at the time when I was doing it, after all these years, I didn't know. But now I remember, that's how I used to freeze time. So instead of me feeling like time just went by, like the whole day just zoop, I woke up and whoa, it's already 5 o'clock. I would force myself to benchmark the repetitive tasks that I'm doing with unrepetitive things that are repetitive. Benchmark them together. When you're working at home like I am doing here, I'm only seeing myself in Olerato in the house. So even though she can change her clothes, to me, I already know those clothes. When you're working in the office, it was the same thing, because I would have all these people around me and I would put on my headphones and then just focus on my work. Take them out and go into meetings. Sometimes it will start. I would remember, business review. We go into business review as Menko review. You remember what people say, but over some time you totally forget what people are saying. You even forget what did you say about in the last pack. In hindsight, you do 12 packs in a year, because once a month. You've totally forgotten what was the burning issue. And you only remember when you go through the slides. You're like, oh, we're still dealing with walkaways, or we're still dealing with depreciation, or we're still chasing assets. And all of that just escapes your mind. But the way that we can freeze time as analysts is to mesh non-repetitive tasks with repetitive tasks. In that way, or business as usual, in that way, you are able to freeze time and remember what you do.